Hello and welcome to a new edition of Interview with Irene. And today my wonderful guest is someone I know from high school, and she's always beautiful and talented, the brilliant Melissa Fosse-Dunne. Thank you so much for coming on, Melissa. So good to see you again.
You are so welcome, Irene. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And Melissa is a very talented comedian and actress, and also you do some modeling, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I used to pursue it much more than I have been lately, only because of time. But
Nice.
yeah, I do.
Nice. Cool. So, how about we start by you telling us a little bit about your background and how you started in modeling and acting?
Well, I started as a dancer, and then when I went to Regina, our high school, they had just discontinued the dance program.
Um,
So I thought, well, I'll take this drama class. Why not? And then I loved it.
yeah.
And so I fell in love with acting there and decided like that was something I really wanted to do with my life. Went to college, continued to do acting throughout school, graduated college, pursued acting, and along the way, I happened to be one of the taller actresses on my agency's roster. So Sears needed a plus size model for a runway show. And they were like, I hope you don't mind. We submitted you. You're tall. So we know that's not like your thing, but we don't really have plus size. And it was before like plus size modeling was like a thing, you know, a big thing. So I was like, no, that's cool. So I went in and I booked the job, and then I ended up working for Sears for a while, you know, not just their fashion show. And then I ended up booking a job working for McDonald's, just like in their like catalogs, like for like their like employee wear. And then when I moved to LA, I was on a film set doing a movie, and a fellow actress was like, I'm producing a fashion show. Would you be interested in being in it? And I said, I kind of thought I wasn't going to model much out here, and it was fine. No big deal. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. So she brought me on board from that. And then from there, I just kept booking jobs. So I was like, okay, well, you know, I mean, it's a fun, creative, wonderful thing. It helps women who, like myself, don't fit the average size. I'm a size 18. I love being my size. And it took me a long time to accept that and accept my size. So if in any way, shape, or form I can help another woman feel comfortable with themselves, and I think that sometimes, you know, through modeling, like if someone sees somebody who looks like them, that makes them feel better, then I'm all about it. So yeah, so that's how the modeling came about. I love runway the most because it feels the most like performance.
Yeah, and yeah, I've always thought of you as beautiful and vibrant, so it's perfect for you.
Oh, thank you, Irene. Thank you.
Of course.
I always adored you.
And even my mom always loves you. She was like, how did I listen to this?
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, she was always so kind to me. I love that. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And but also you are so talented with comedy chops, and I just loved your character of Frank. You were
Oh,
cute.
oh,
And of course, Tawny, I love you. I love Tanya.
I love Tawny too. I love Tawny too.
Yeah, it's so funny, like, cause I just saw the newest episode with the Pizza Hut closing, and I was just talking to someone who lives across the street from a Pizza Hut, and I'm like, wait, there's actually a Pizza Hut by your place, so funny, so.
Yeah, I love characters. Shortly after college, I went to Second City and did their Second City conservatory program, and then worked with them a bit. And I love like just there's so many quirky things happening in there, and so I love to create new people, and so a couple of my friends helped me. I put together an audition tape. I had gotten a call to put an audition tape together for Saturday Night Live, and so I was able to put some of my people in my head on tape, and then we were like, let's just keep putting them on tape. So you're going to be seeing Frank videos where it's not, with an app or anything. It's just me. You'll be seeing the Frank videos. Those are coming out, I think, within a week or so.
Oh,
and then there's more characters. More people are going to be coming out.
And so what was your inspiration for Frank and for Tardreen?
Well, for Frank, I think Frank is partially me. I grew up, my father worked concerts and did the soundboard for a lot of concerts, and did the scoreboard for the Bulls and the Blackhawks, and he did lighting design for concerts. So I grew up around music a lot. And my mom, a huge hippie mama. So I grew up, kind of listening to music that perhaps other kids didn't. I wrote term papers about the Eagles' The Last Resort. You know what I mean? Like, music has always been very important to me. So with Frank, I've never necessarily wanted a kid, but if there was like a kid that I thought was super cool, like I think it would be Frank, because like Frank is like basically like a 50-year-old woman in a 6-year-old's body.
Right.
Like loves James Spader, who I think is brilliant, and Phil Collins, who I think the world takes for granted. You know what I mean? And Tawny, I figured like everybody growing up at some point has some wonderful memory of Pizza Hut. I think across the board. Across the board. Because because Pizza Hut is universal, right?
Right.
So I had always had this person in my head that I dabbled with different people when I do improv, right? Like I pull out different characters and try them out, but I always like the idea of someone's superpower being, they knew what you wanted to eat.
Mm-hmm.
It's very bizarre, strange, rather stupid superpower. But at the same time, like, where would that come in handy?
Right.
Right? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I ordered a Pizza Hut shirt off eBay, and Tawny just seemed to come to life. And yeah, and then from there, and then the Pizza Hut closed. So then we were like, well, now we have to go back and film more. And I mean, we've since, like, there's more episodes coming because, like, we've taken her out to the desert. I mean, she's done campaigning. She does campaigning. Oh yeah, Tawny is working. And there's another character you'll see coming out that's wearing my Regina cheerleading uniform.
Oh my goodness. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I like have to promote the heck out of that one. Anything for Regina.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I have gotten more use out of my high school cheerleading uniform.
Oh. Oh, that's so cool. I was wearing my Virginia Senior sweatshirt the other day, so I know really, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So you're a big fan of a particular artist who unfortunately passed away, but yeah, that's just right. I see it.
Yeah, I have some little symbols all over.
How did your love of Prince come about?
Well, when I was a little girl, my mom bought the 45 to Controversy, song Controversy. She played it over and over and over again.
Oh, wow.
And I fell in love with that song. And when the Purple Rain tour was in Chicago, so my father worked concerts, and my mom and my sister were going, but there was like an age requirement to go see that show. And obviously I was way too young. So my dad was just like, oh, if I get her in, all the stagehands are going to say, why can't my kid get in? So I was very upset. Like, I just knew I loved him. I just knew I loved him. Like, he was magical to me. The music was magical to me. Like, everything. The dancing, because I loved to dance.
Right.
And the first time I saw Prince, so that spring break, we went down to Florida, and we were driving into Miami Beach, and the Orange Bowl said, one night only, Orange Bowl goes purple, Prince, Easter Sunday. And I started crying. And my dad pretended to be really mad. And he came back with 4 tickets to the show. And so we went and saw Prince, and it was Easter Sunday, and he ended up, from one of the other stagehands who he knew, he got me the scarf that Prince had worn throughout the show.
Oh my God.
Throughout the years, you know, we'd gone to, my mom and I always went, my mom, my dad, my sister, we always went to go see the Grateful Dead a lot. You know, we were big, my dad not so much, but we were big into the Grateful Dead. But like Prince, I've traveled to see Prince. I would go to Prince shows all the time just by myself because it was like my own world. He brought me on stage to dance with him. I found out later from his photographers that he referred to me as the Purple Hippy. So when he left, which now I refer to it as leaving the planet, I don't use the D word anymore.
Right.
I can't believe that such wonderful energy as certain human beings in our life possess can just cease to exist.
Right.
So I just think they leave the planet.
Right.
So when Prince left the planet, it was like, I've never, my soul literally felt like it broke. And thankfully I still, have his music and his words, and yeah, I have my little Prince symbols all around. I have a Prince symbol tattoo. I got that though, like years and years ago. I got that.
Oh God.
Yeah,
This is
he's my little teeny tiny guru.
So that's incredible. Like you actually met him and knew him, right?
Well, so we didn't like speak. He wasn't one that you would just like talk to. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he knew who I was.
Oh wow.
Because I had I would make these dresses, these patchwork like hippie dresses, and I would sew large symbols on the front of them. And I was at so many shows, and I was always dancing.
Right.
And so his photographers came. When I met the photographers later, they were like, "Oh, we know you. There are so many people of you." They're like, "You're the Purple Hippy." And I was like, and he brought me on stage. He'd point me out. And it was like, oh, my Princey McPrincerton. Yeah. He'd give me his guitar picks. And like yeah, I mean, it was just so much of his music, because I mean, there's such a huge catalog of music with him,
right?
And there's music for days when you need your spirit perked up. There's days when I mean, he has a classical album, he has jazz albums, he has there's like literally everything. So
exactly.
Yeah, so there's Prince for every mood.
Oh, true. That's a beautiful story. So I know like the comedy and acting are keeping you busy now, but what do you like to do in your spare time?
Okay, well, I love to watch Lifetime movies.
Oh.
I love Lifetime movies. I have yet to do a movie that ends up on Lifetime. I really thought this one movie that I did before, I was like, this has got to end up on Lifetime. And it has, as far as I know, it has yet to show up on Lifetime. And I was like, come on, be on Lifetime. I love Lifetime movies. At like Christmas time, the past like couple years, I've started watching Hallmark movies, and I'm like, whoa, how I need to be in these.
Yes, you do.
I need to be like the woman baking pies, right? Like giving advice and baking pies.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
I like to sew. I just started like painting some stuff, and that's been kind of fun. Pretty much anything creative is what keeps me sane. Sewing. I like to bake. Like when I'm home visiting my family, like I'm constantly baking. It's like, like I think like edible joy is so much fun. I love to eat, and when you can see other people enjoying your food, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love to watch movies. I'm a big Betty Davis fan. I love watching old movies. I love watching B horror films.
Mm-hmm.
But music is like my ultimate. I could just I'll paint stuff or sew stuff, and as long as I have music going, I'm good.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. Music definitely speaks to the soul, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite to listen to?
Well, it depends on the genre. Like for classical, I like Chopin and Mozart. But then country, I like Kip Moore. He's like a newer artist, but his style is kind of like the older style, Johnny Cash and stuff. So I like him and, different stuff.
Okay, I'll have to listen to him. I'll check him out.
I'll email you.
Okay.
And then, finally, do you have any advice for future actors or musicians or any type of performers?
Well, I would say if you want to make this your living, it definitely has to be all you want.
Right.
Has to be all you want. If you don't care if it's your living and you just want to do it, as an outlet, what have you, that's wonderful. For someone like me, it's literally what I want for my life. It's what gives me so much great joy. Just, on Sundays when I can tape with my two friends, Eric and Tony, who help, me tape the characters and help produce the characters and direct, and if I could do that 7 days a week, all the time, but it has to be all you want, because you're going to get so many no's. You're going to get rejections that have nothing to do except for the way that you look, or you know what I mean? Sometimes it's how your height, or you know what I mean? It's things that are completely out of your control. And so unless you can deal with that and persevere through it, just know that you may, want to do it as something that's just for fun. But if you're willing to go all in, I wouldn't want it any other way, because I don't think I could live any other way.
Right.
I would feel cheating, like I was cheating myself.
Right.
Because it's all I love, that.
Mm-hmm.
It's my passion. So nothing else would give me the joy.
Right.
It would be like everything else would be like if you'd be looking at a menu and they were out of what you wanted, and then you tried to order something else and they were out of that too, and then you were on the fourth thing, and you're like, I guess I'll eat that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has to be your number one thing that you want on the menu, and know that they're going to be out of it a lot, but you have to keep going back and trying to order it.
All right. That's a good way to...
I don't know if that really makes sense, but...
No, it does. I love that, yes. Oh, thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully we'll have you again.
Yeah, so much for having me. Irene,
with
it was so
your
wonderful.
cheerleader costume.
You're so wonderful.
Alright, and thank you again for joining me for another interview with Irene. I'll see you next time. Bye.